Come on, Sid. Hi friends, I am coming to you on a beautiful September fall afternoon. It is Friday. Come Sid. It is Friday. I don't work on Fridays. The sun is out today. It is a perfect temperature. So far, everything about this day has been amazing. So I thought, why not record a video? I am approaching 1 year since I lost my job. So I lost my job in November of 2018, and I was unemployed for about 7.5 months. It's kind of a long time. And during that time, hang on, it's during that very low period last year when I was unemployed and really struggling with, mental health and confidence and all that kind of stuff. When you are without work and being rejected a lot by people that you want to work for. One of the things I loved to fill my time with when I was unemployed was walking. I walked twice a day, at least once a day, most of the time twice a day. And this is one of the streets I would walk down, and I love looking at people's gardens. There's some hydrangeas, some dahlias here. Look at this pretty porch with the pumpkins on it. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Okay, I'm walking uphill now. So I had to slow down a little bit. I absorb a lot of wisdom and knowledge and education, frankly, through stories. I pay attention to stories everywhere. Stories in music, stories in movies, stories on shows, stories people tell me, events I attend, conferences, people I meet, books I read, everything, stories. I've also realized lately that I'm an experiential learner. Like, I could read a book and I'll find it super meaningful and I'll learn a lot, but I retain information better when I'm actually doing something and making mistakes and iterating and trying it again. So I'm like the queen of failing big and then never failing in that way again, because I've gone back and I've picked it apart and I figured out what I did wrong and I don't do it again. Where was I going with that? I can't remember where I was going with that. Stories? Was I talking about stories? And then what was the connection? So I lost my job in November of last year, and I was not in a good place. So I came back to some stories that were meaningful to me and that I think about often. I reminded myself of some of those stories. They're things that I think about often, stories I think about, people I think about, and I wanted to share them with you because these are the important stories. These in particular are the important stories that got me through a really tough few months when I lost my job. And I'll share them with you specifically for winter berries. So I want to share those with you, and you can put them in your pocket for later if you're not struggling right now. If you are struggling right now, I hope it's helpful. Otherwise, put it in your pocket for later. Can you sit? Sit. Good boy. Okay. Can you lay down? Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. I can't manage you. And this video at the same time. A few months after I lost my job, Brian and I started rewatching Game of Thrones again in preparation for season 7 coming out. If you're familiar with Game of Thrones, you know the character Ned Stark. Towards the end of the first season, Ned Stark learns the truth about something, and he's going through the proper channels to bring this truth to life, to bring this truth to light. You know, the show was called The Game of Thrones. So all of these other people around him are playing political games and engaging in intrigue for various reasons, for their own gain. Anyway, and Ned Stark ends up getting his head cut off. Spoiler alert. And as we were watching that series again, I told Brian that I was feeling like Ned Stark because I didn't know how to play the game. If there's, you know, games being played or positions being maneuvered, I guess I can be a little bit naive to that. What was cathartic about watching the Game of Thrones series again with Ned Stark getting his head cut off, because that's how I felt. I felt like I got my head cut off. That I was getting close to some breakthroughs, and that I thought it was taking a turn, you know, an uptick in trajectory, and then I got my head cut off. But what was cathartic about watching Game of Thrones again is that all the people around the kingdom who know the Stark family, who know Ned specifically, who know his sons and his daughters, all those people that were close to him and knew his character, they knew without a shadow of a doubt that he was not a traitor, that he was executed for being a traitor, and the people in his life who mattered to him knew the truth. They knew that he was not a traitor. They knew the kind of person he was, and sadly my battery died just then, so I'll wrap this up quickly. What I was trying to say is that in the middle of struggling with feelings of doubt and inadequacy, I was surrounded by people who know who I really am. And even though I could have done some things differently in my situation, the people who mattered most to me, they knew my character and my integrity and my intentions, and they knew the value I brought to the team. And that was very comforting to me in the long run. Because when I was in the middle of it, the negative voices were definitely the loudest, and it's all I could hear inside my head and inside my heart. And I had to work really hard to reframe the experience as a learning opportunity and not as a failure. When I was in the middle of it, I craved for people to remind me what I was good at. I forgot my own worth on the daily, on the regular. And every time someone made a passing compliment, I was like, what? Can you say that again? I want to write that down. So anyway, thanks for watching. And if you have a story to share, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear if you've been through something similar. I think we need to stick together and share each other's stories. I'll be back in my next video with another story that has influenced me through difficult times. So thank you for letting me walk my dog and talk to you about Game of Thrones and Ned Stark. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for listening.